Just want to let you lot know that if you're watching this clip on the Fozcast YouTube channel, the full episode is now available to watch exclusively on Spotify, and it's free. Come on. Playing first team football probably came a bit late for you, didn't it, really? 24, 25.
Yeah.
Cardiff did really well, and then Burnley after that, obviously.
Yeah.
200 appearances for Burnley. Would you say Burnley was probably where you had the best of your footballing career?
Up to this point, yeah, I would say so. I think I did change it. The loan spells helped with that. It also coincided with a bit of a psychological change. So and I started to be able to perform. Big marker with the League Cup final in 2012 for me. What was it, 25 or so, 25 I think. Big marker for me for doing that because final at Wembley, playing against a Premier League team. I played well, felt fully in control of what I was doing. That sort of went to Bristol City after that. Signed at Burnley, and that sort of was just a real marker of the first season. I think we were third favourites to get relegated. Ended up getting promoted back to the Premier League. That's when I left United. I wanted to get back to the Premier League and be a Premier League number one.
Yeah.
Opportunity, and it built from there really.
What's it like having a manager like Dyche who? I know for a fact, well, I have never been in one of his team tours, but I can pretty much guarantee you what he would say was, to you personally, would be, right, Biggin, you stop the ball going in the back of the net, and when you get it, you kick it as far away from this goal, as far away as you possibly can.
You know what? Like Burnley got tarred with that brush a little bit, and I understand why. We were pragmatic. I think probably more pragmatic and functional going forward. But we also played a lot of football.
Yeah.
We got tarred with the brush, and it probably wasn't always fair. There wasn't a lot of risk, and that was more how we set up as a team. But we actually, we win second balls.
Yeah, once you got it up there,
then we'd start playing. So there has to be a bit of balance to it. But the Gaffer's team talks were, everyone knew what we were about. The whole team were on the same page, and I think one of the big things I used to enjoy about it, and he used to allude to the fact that the 11 lads, the whole squad really, stood down the tunnel, and we used to think, look at each other and go, we're ready here. And we used to look across, go, you lads better be ready because we're having it. You know what I mean? And people don't like it. They're up and in your face. There's so much to be said for that physicality, application.
Absolutely.
And we sort of snowballed it, and everyone was on the same page, all pulling in the same direction. We knew each other. We could deliver honest information and feedback to each other, and we'd get the best out of it. And it was just a brilliant time, and we overachieved for.
It was that doggedness, mate. It was. I remember exactly that, being in the tunnel, and I would look back at my team. I'd see him doing it. I'd looking back, and you could hear them all just angry, like caged animals, good to go.
I think Sean. From my understanding, he came on the podcast, Sean did, and it's a culture, isn't it? And he was saying about how he used to have the wheel and have a bit of fun there, didn't he? Spinning the wheel with
the fines and all that kind of stuff, and the forfeits.
And I guess it's the culture that he sets about that honesty and togetherness.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think the wheel was one of the things. I think his pre-season day that I'm assuming I did see that episode, but I can't remember. Did he talk about the Gaffer's day that he did in pre-season?
No.
Talk about that?
No.
So he did a Gaffer's day where he was. Balls out the window, 2 hours. You don't know what's coming, but you're running. And you're running as a team. And it'll be carrying tyres, it'll be going in groups. And it'd be 2 hours, give or take, maybe an hour and a half. And then the last one would be a run round the pitch. And you have to get in a certain time. So if the last man or the slowest man don't get in, you're all back on the start line. And in the end, it's funny, you do it once, someone doesn't make it, you do it again. And in the end, all the lads are running with the one lad that can't make it to get them through. And it's like bonds through adversity, it's that way. And that's so much to be said for that anchor moment that carries you through the season. And so we literally had authentically that we knew each other were giving everything we had through that dressing room.
We love Sean Dyche.
Yeah,
we absolutely love Sean Dyche.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at Burnley then, you've got competition at Burnley though, because at one point, like I said, what we mentioned earlier, you've got Joe Hart, you've got Nick Pope, and you've got yourself. That is a heavy trio of goalkeeping, isn't it?
It is. I think at that time we had Adam Legstins and Anders Lindegaard as well.
Yes.
There was a quintuplet or whatever you want to call it. I don't know the word, but
sounds about right.
Yeah, so something like that.
Was that Lindegaard there as well?
Yeah, Anders Lindegaard came in. So at one moment we had 5 sort of senior goalkeepers.
There were a couple injuries flying around. Remember Popey did that one where he came out, landed his shoulder kind of all over the shop.
Yeah.
Harty sort of had a bit of a dip. Well, it wasn't even Harty really having too much of a dip in form. Burnley were just sort of losing week in, week out. We spoke to Harty about this and he said, Dyche just had to pull me one day and go, listen, mate, I'm going to have to change something. I'm going to have to change it. It's as simple as that. And that's where you came in and the fortunes picked up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's right. I think I'd been out the previous season with an injury and then it'd been my shoulder as well, I think, before Popey had done his. So I'd had the shoulder injury and Popey had come in, done really well. And Popey got his shoulder in pre-season. You know, signing Harty, me and Harty go back a long time. Obviously, he was at City, I was at United as kids. We used to play each other against each other all the time. You know, not too dissimilar England age group. So we'd had a good relationship for a long period. And he rang me one day to tell me he was signing at Burnley. Massively appreciated him stepping out and having the conversation. You know, obviously a lot of respect there. So he came in, started the season, and it was tough for me because I was captain of the club. You know, on the back of my shoulder injury, wanted to get in the team, but at the same time, like I'd always been everywhere I've been, and I think everyone should be in goalkeeping. There's a respect, there's a support. We all want to play, but you've got to support lad playing.
And open and honest as well. Just be open and honest. If you're a goalie coach, a manager, whatever, just be open and honest with me.
Be straightforward. And he played really well. It was a real difficult period. I think we had 11 points after 19 games, and I think that's when he changed it over, literally halfway through the Premier League season. But if you're asking me, I think at that moment in time he was probably playing this season halfway through, and that can be football sometimes.
Bonkers. I want to carry on talking about this in a minute. I've got a mad one to throw at you quickly. Do you remember you will remember a young lad at United when we were both together? We had a kid below us, like maybe 2 or 3 places down from us. Ron Robert Zieler.
I remember Ron
Robert Zieler, right? Yeah. So quick story for you all. So I remember being at United with Ron. Lovely lad, German lad. Yeah. Lovely lad though, really good lad. You could see at the time he wasn't ready for playing football. Really, you could tell that it was never really going to work out for him at Manchester United. In all fairness, I had doubts that he would even go on to be a footballer. To be perfectly honest, I could just sort of the way I feel I've always got a fairly good gauge of looking at people and players and thinking, yeah, you've got a bit, I just couldn't see it at that moment in time. Fast forward anyway. Fast forward a few years on. Ron Robert Zieler has played 6 times for Germany. Yeah. He was second choice goalie at the 2014 World Cup where Germany went and won it behind Manuel Neuer. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
Brilliant
but that
career.
Is the beauty of like, don't ever give up. Don't let anybody say anything to you about you go and do it for you, mate.
100%. And that is football in a nutshell. You know, that's your view of it, your perception, your opinion. But what does that matter? You know, the journey is your own journey and which way you're going. So it's up to you where you take it. And I think, you know, in that circumstance, absolutely brilliant career, great lad. Well, you know, fantastic for him. But yeah, that is football for me in a nutshell. You know, how can anyone make a judgment? It's very difficult to make a judgment. Yeah,
it's mad, isn't it?
Maybe with goalkeepers, is that fair to say? Because we had our local team, we had Ben Wilson from Coventry on a few weeks ago. Yeah. And he barely kicked a ball before he was what? 28,
late 20s, nearly 30,
knocking on 30. Yeah. And now he's playing, he's doing really, really well. But I think, like you said, Ben, you probably started to get to your best when you were around 30.
I'd say I'd be about the same as Tom. I was a bit of a late bloomer, didn't really play much first team football until I was well into my 20s. But I think that's the position of goalkeeping. I don't think it is such a mental game.
Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip of the Fozcast. If you would like to watch the full episode, it is now available exclusively on Spotify for free.